Hello everyone, I'm Dillionaire. The finale for Volume 9 is here and it definitely delivered. It had me going through a roller coaster of emotions. So let's not waste any more time. If you haven't seen the episode yet, I highly recommend you do, as I will be spoiling it. This is my thoughts and review for RWBY Volume 9 Episode 10 of Solitude and Self. Let's get right into it. Once again, we open with Summer Rose reading the story to a kid, Ruby and Yang. After she finishes, she tells them both that she loves them just the way they are, and leaves her rose emblem behind. Right before she leaves the house, Tai Yang stops her, saying that it's irregular. She says it's just a typical mission for Ozpin, and they both laugh and mimic Oz wanting to be diligent. They hug and she caresses his cheek, telling him she'll be back. As Summer leaves the house, she runs into Raven, who asks her if anyone suspects anything. Summer tells her no, they all think it's a regular mission. Raven messes with her, saying that Summer Rose lying, there's a first time for everything. She then looks worried, asking about her kids, if she's okay with just leaving them. Summer gets some sass in her voice, saying that she's one to talk, considering she abandoned Yang. Raven replies that Summer's better at that kind of life than she was. Summer bumps into her for disrespect, pretty much the same way Yang does in Volume 5's finale, saying that if she does this right, they don't need to worry. Raven opens up a portal, and they both walk through it. I really love Summer's personality. I'm so happy we got a scene with her and Tai, although brief, to show their chemistry together and that they loved each other very much. She loves her family very much, and she will hold grudges to anyone who has slighted them. And you can tell Summer is a great leader because she knows Raven is a valuable asset. She's still working with her despite her leaving Yang, who she's taken and loves as if she was her own daughter. And Raven has always been a gray character. I felt she doesn't speak her true emotions so she doesn't have to face them. But here she talks to Summer openly, worrying about her daughter and saying how she wasn't a good mother or wife. It's probably because she feels that Summer is a close friend, even if they don't get along. Most likely because of their days in school together. This mission that they're going on is definitely Summer's final mission though. It seems as if they know that whatever they're about to do could be extremely dangerous if it goes wrong, considering Summer leaves her emblem behind before leaving. I wonder if the portal they went through leads to Crow. If it does, this mission and whatever happened to Summer could be the reason he becomes an alcoholic and distances himself from the people he cares about. He could blame himself for her death because of his cursed semblance. But if the three of them are doing this together, why wouldn't they bring Tai? Could it be that he would never let them go on a mission so reckless? Maybe it doesn't lead to Crow, but instead leads to someone else close to Raven. Perhaps someone we've yet to meet. But speculation is best saved for the future. After seeing this flashback triggered by touching Summer's weapon, Ruby is confused. She doesn't understand why her mom would lie to them. She left with Raven, not on a mission. The blacksmith chimes in questioning who knows why people keep the secrets they do, telling Ruby that she isn't the only one who's felt the weight of others' expectations, as her mother did as well. Ruby pushes over the glass encasement holding Summer's weapon in frustration. Lashing out at the smith, she asks if the lesson she's teaching her is that it's useless and she should just give up and become someone else. The smith, wanting Ruby to find the answer on her own, also questions if that's what she's teaching her. We cut to Jaune, who's enveloped in smoke from the leaves. He hears Alex's voice telling him that he wasn't a hero, that he couldn't save her. He laments that he couldn't save a lot of people. Alex offers him her hand, to become the man he always wanted to be. He's hesitant at first, but then accepts. I wanted a bit more for Jaune's moment here, something with a little bit more conflict of self. But I'm sure he's had a lot of that already before we met him. It could be that because he was only exposed to the smoke, he didn't have a question to ask himself. When the herbalist blew smoke at Team RWBY, he asked them what they were as he blew the smoke. Just a thought, at least. Weiss, Blake, and Yang continue to fight Neocat, and Jaune drops tree branches on them from above, telling them to burn the leaves. The cat starts laughing because the leaves don't have an effect on them, but they do have an effect on their host, Neo. They start being overwhelmed by Neo's emotions of Cinder, of RWBY, her parents, and Roman. They have to relinquish control of her body as Neo stumbles out of the smoke cloud. The cat, however, grows in size even more, resembling an alpha Beowulf. They start easily gaining the upper hand on our team, breaking Jaune's aura. As a familiar motif plays, RWBY is told that her time is running out and she must make a choice. She wanders around until she recalls Summer's words, "I love you, just the way you are." Every weapon sinks into the ground but one, Crescent Rose. RWBY runs over and chooses it. She asks the smith what would happen if she chooses herself, to which they reply, that girl would be enough. She places her hand upon the glass container and her wooden cocoon begins to crack. She merges with Crescent Rose and her mother's emblem as Red Like Roses Part 3 begins to play. Everyone is so happy to see her back and surprised that she's still herself. Jaune says that she knew what she needed to be all along. The cat can't wait to steal her, so they begin their attack. RWBY parries and we get a fight scene to the music. The whole scene is framed amazingly, and I loved the lighting on RWBY when she emerges. The fight is awesome, and RWBY's fast-paced scythe swings are very reminiscent of the Red trailer fighting style. Such great choreography at work here. The part where they all bounce off of Weiss's glyphs was so insanely cool, and it reminded me of a team attack from the game Sonic Heroes. The cat is back to normal after taking a beating, still trying to convince RWBY she's broken, but the only one they're convincing is themselves. Yang, Weiss, and Blake say that they're wrong. They follow RWBY because she isn't broken. She's a great leader. Team RWBY declare that they'll be leaving, and the cat will be staying. In its anger, the cat leaps to attack RWBY, but Neo gets her revenge by creating a Jabberwocker. The cat gets devoured while screaming as everyone looks in horror. I definitely didn't expect the cat to get straight up eaten here. Team RWBY goes to help Jaune, and on her way, RWBY takes a moment to look at Neo, then makes her way to everyone else. They have a group hug as RWBY starts to cry. Neo stands still, watching them, as an illusion of Roman speaks about having what they have. Neo approaches the edge of the branch they're on and looks down into the tree. Roman asks if this is it for Neo, as she turns around with a somber expression and puts her hand on his face. Roman smiles as he replies, he knows he isn't real, and fades away. Jaune asks about Neo, but she gives a bow towards them and jumps off with her umbrella hovering down. RWBY tells him that Neo will find herself one way or another. A wooden cocoon for Neo grows on the tree in front of them, complete with leaves forming her umbrella. Well, goodbye, Neapolitan. This is a fantastic way to end her as a character. She got her revenge on RWBY and even the cat, but along the way, she realized she had nothing else. The leaves made her understand this even more with their visions. Afterwards, she has no ill will towards RWBY either. She needed to see the person she loved, Roman, one last time before her ascension, however. I interpreted Roman's illusion fading after being told he isn't real, as Neo understanding that she needs to move on. The bow was her way of telling us all that her performance as Neo has come to an end. I don't think we'll see her again, and what happens to her will be up to your interpretation. If we do see her again, however, I'd think it'd be at the end of the series, and I definitely don't think she'll be Neo anymore. Maybe she'll be able to speak. It'd be fun if she becomes a gender-swapped Roman Torchwick or something similar. It'd be a neat little reference to her being inspired by Roman cosplay. Ruby is worried because she never saw Little while she was in the tree. She wanted to thank them. Blake asks everyone if they think they just made things worse in the ever after. But Ruby wants to believe they did even a little good, but she's not quite sure. Yeah, it really hasn't been great in the ever after, has it? They crashed an auction, a royal birthday, got a night market destroyed, and prevented people from ascension. There wasn't much good being done. A familiar voice calls out to them, asking them, "Wait, it's Little." However, after ascending, they aren't as little anymore. Ruby is extremely happy to see them, but they don't remember her. Realizing that you don't retain memories after ascension, Ruby asks them what they are. They haven't thought about what they are yet, and asks Ruby what she thinks they are. Ruby says they're a friend. Blake says a guide. Weiss says a protector. And Yang calls them adorable. Ruby wants to know if they hit the mark at all. They say that they aren't just one thing, they're somewhat of a lot of things. As they talk, Somewhat thinks they remember Ruby, like she's a happy dream they can't remember. Ruby tells them that she's glad they got to meet, and she's sure they'll help lots of people, but they have to say goodbye already. Ruby and Somewhat hug, and Ruby cries. Somewhat says, "It'll be okay, Huntress," showing us that what the cat said is true. Even though the mind forgets, the heart can never truly forget. Jaune asks Somewhat to look after his steed, Juniper, because she means the world to him. After seeing just how much she matters to Jaune, Somewhat declares they'll never leave her side. This was the part that killed me. Watching it made me start tearing up and everything. Jaune has spent more time with Juniper than anyone else he's ever met, and has to say goodbye. Knowing that Somewhat will take care of her is so pure it almost brings me to tears just thinking about it. Jaune holds back his tears until they walk away, and he takes one last look at Juniper before he never sees her again, and wipes away his tears. I love this so much. They all hold hands in front of the exit as they steel themselves and jump through. They end up in the Sea of Souls where Ruby was prior. They come across the smith who welcomes them to their workshop. She tells Jaune that she's been waiting a long time for him to arrive. She confirms to him that Lewis was the only one to leave. Here we learn that Remnant's creators, the two brothers, are not actually gods at all. They're simply beings born from the tree, inhabitants of the Ever After. They were given their powers to fix the Ever After and create the acres. They grew curious and wanted more than just fixing what's broken. They wanted to create something new. The curious cat was created by the brothers to fulfill their role for them, to fix what's broken here. The brothers disagree about what creates balance after we see them create the Jabberwocker, the only other creature that disobeys rules in the Ever After. We have a cool visual of the colors of Team RWBY spiraling and growing into their respective flowers as the smith tells us how true balance finds its own equilibrium, which requires love and the patience to see things through to the end. This is quite an interesting revelation. The brothers aren't some almighty gods as previously thought. They're just two regular Afterans who have an insane power of creation. This makes me understand them more, as I had always seen the brothers as incompetent gods. But now, I can see them as people who are simply trying to learn from their mistakes. The Ever After couldn't handle their experiments anymore, so it created a door that let them leave to go create their own worlds. Remnant could be their very first creation, and after they messed up with humanity, they decided to restart from scratch with their new knowledge. The door has remained open since their departure to welcome the brothers' return or for any of their creations. The smith tells them that they have had a larger impact here than they know, as she hands Ruby a mini statue of Somewhat. As a motif of Red Like Roses plays, we see a montage of our time with Little, flashing back to the statue of Somewhat. One small kindness, in one small moment, had led to such a marvelous transformation. I feel this was the final push that RWBY and the rest of the team needed to truly think what they've done and will continue to do is the right thing. Even if they mess up, or aren't sure if they've made things worse, they have definite proof that even just trying is enough to make a massively positive change for at least one person. Somewhat's mirror, however, is the curious cat. After being abandoned by the brothers and Alex breaking her promise to take them to Remnant, the cat was broken. And with nobody to send them back to the tree for repair, the cat stayed broken and continued on its wrong path. They weren't created evil, but their life had forged their path. The smith is asked what will happen to Neo, and she replies that she'll have the chance to change out her broken heart for a new one. A new life. She pulls out Alex's knife and Jaune recognizes it immediately. She tells him that when Alex's life had ended, she left a part of it behind. Her wish to fix what had been broken. The knife starts to glow as Jaune grabs it, and through the wish bestowed in the knife, Jaune becomes young again, no longer in his rusted armor. He has a few white streaks through his hair, to show that his experience here still mattered, and will be with him forever. A constant reminder of who he is. The heart never forgets. I really didn't want Jaune to become young again. However, ever since we'd seen him here, I knew it was coming. He'll have a weird physical versus mental age thing now, but I think his experience will help him become a greater leader and huntsman. The smith opens a portal that looks just like the one Ambrosius created. RWBY asks where it will take them, and she replies that it's not about where it will take them. It will take them to when they are needed most. Everyone walks through the portal one after another, and RWBY is the last to go through, as she thanks the smith for everything before leaving. She replies with a simple wave as we go through the portal and see where and when we are. A leitmotif of "This Will Be the Day" plays as our characters look into the distance to see Shade Academy, with tons of Atlas airships and Amity Arena floating overhead. The last academy standing, a true beacon of hope. With this visual, the scene fades to white. End of volume. This finale was absolutely wonderful. It had everything you could have wanted. Awesome action, an amazing soundtrack, great character moments, interesting lore, and a hopeful cliffhanger. This is probably one of the best ways to end off this breathtaking volume crafted with so much love. They built Team Stark up even further, which makes me so mad, but even more excited to eventually see more of their past. Something about their mission goes south, and I want to know what they were planning. I'm not sure if anyone else had noticed, but when RWBY had given away her emblem earlier in the volume, she had said it contained a mother's promise. And when Summer leaves her emblem behind, she tells Yang and RWBY, "I love you, just the way you are." When RWBY hears this in the Sea of Souls, it convinces her to stay Ruby Rose. When she emerges from the tree, she has the emblem again. The mother's promise is just that. Her never-ending love. It's a promise that means more than just love. It could be interpreted as never yielding and continuing to do the right thing no matter what happens. To always be yourself even if you think yourself isn't enough. I also wanted to do an analysis of the lyrics of Red Like Roses Part 3, Guide My Way, but I think I'll wait until the full version is released so I can get a better understanding of the song. And I'll admit it, I wasn't attached to Little very much, if at all. However, the combination of the montage of their journey with us, the statuette of Somewhat, and the music was so beautiful and it made me emotional. I absolutely love how RWBY had become attached to them and was so happy to see them back. The fact that Team RWBY had inspired Little to be so much more than they started as is a small but meaningful affirmation of their actions, however small they may be. I teared up multiple times in this episode. The final scene of them all looking out at Vacuo while This Will Be the Day is playing filled me with so many emotions that they just came out as tears. I like this ending so much more than my prediction of Shade being destroyed. If we take the blacksmith's words as true, the portal took them all to when they were needed most. The present. The here and now, not the past nor the future. They will make the biggest impact in the present day. Volume 9 has easily become one of my favorites in the entire series. You can feel just how much effort has been poured into the writing, animation, and voice acting. I want to give a big thanks to each and every member of RWBY that made this volume happen. Even if you played a minor part in the creation, you helped create such a beautiful thing that means so much to so many people. I will forever be thankful for the hard work that you guys put in, and your show inspired me to become more creative. Thank you, RWBY, and I hope this isn't the last time we get to see you guys in action. Hey Crunchyroll, you really should greenlight Volume 10. I had a lot to say about the future of RWBY here, and after days of writing, and I'll be honest, procrastination, thanks Final Fantasy XIV, I've decided to split my thoughts of the future into its own separate video, coming soon in the future. Thank you all for joining me this volume of RWBY. What was your favorite scene or episode of Volume 9? Let me know in the comments. If you made it this far, it means a lot. Please consider subscribing so you don't miss my next video. See you then!